Hey there, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of December 1st. You have this Divine Infinity card. It says, challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations and you'll find your infinity. You have this Crow Spirit. It says, you'll soon receive news that will bring some blessed experiences into your life. Sag, I feel like you've been trying to solve a puzzle here. That's like intuitively what I feel. And the good news is that if something has been like a little bit of a puzzle for you, I feel like you are getting answers on like how to get out of the puzzle or how to solve the puzzle. It's kind of like a maze, but I also don't really feel like this reading is talking about a maze. I feel it's talking about a puzzle, that you've been trying to solve. It's like a problem that you've been trying to overcome. But I also feel it's like a puzzle because it's almost like there's a reward. And here you go. You have the Ace of Swords, which would be a victory or a big win. So it's almost like there's like a reward at the end of the puzzle, that you are solving here. And so, yeah, I feel pretty good about that. It's an amazing time to challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations. Again, this is our last chance with Neptune and Pisces. Neptune moves into Aries in January. Neptune and Pisces is the big impossible dream. And as I've said many times, I think we should all be trying to do something hard right now. It doesn't even have to be hard, it could just be something that seems impossible, right? And it could be a puzzle that we have to solve. But, doing that, you will get some major rewards with Neptune. And it might not happen overnight. It might take a couple of years or something like that, but it will be worth it. So, if you have an impossible dream, I would go for it. You start with the Two of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. She's thinking this or that. She's a little bit stuck in a stalemate. It's almost like you've been looking at a puzzle, and it's like, have you ever seen one of those puzzles where it's like the answer is very obvious, but it's not at the same time? That's how I feel. It's like, it's like one of those things. Like once you learn how to solve it, you'll just be able to do it immediately, like very, very quickly. But until you see it, it's a little bit of a mind bender, type of feeling is what I have for you here, Sagittarius. And so that's what I feel with the Two of Swords. Again, she just needs to go over here. This island is a third place solution. And again, it kind of makes sense, as I've been telling you many times with Uranus and Gemini, even though it's in Taurus right now, it doesn't matter. It's already been in Gemini. Next year, it moves back into Gemini to stay. And this is very Uranus and Gemini. It's like, novel, unique approaches, novel, unique solutions to things that you're working on or creating or building or doing. All those things are going to be very important. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles, of course, is independence and gratitude and luxuries. December seems to be a very good month for expressing gratitude, and so I would. I really don't have a good reason for it here, Sagittarius, and I don't even necessarily see it in the astrology, but it has been coming up a lot, and so. And I think we should all probably be expressing more gratitude anyway. It's one of the best energies to manifest from. And so I think that, the Nine of Pentacles is all about being grateful for the things you have. And, just doing a little bit of extra gratitude could really be very beneficial for you. I always say I used to be the type of person where I would have a victory and I would just like rush right past it. I wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't do anything with it. I wouldn't celebrate it or anything. You know what I mean? And it was like I was always chasing my tail. And so once I made it a point, years ago, I started making it a point to really celebrate my wins, even the small ones, and to really stay in that energy for a lot longer and to just enjoy it. And you know what happened is I started winning a lot more. And so I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it because it's a very simple practice. And, if you stay in the energy of winning longer, then you are a winner longer. And then you're probably going to attract more wins and you're going to believe that you're a winner, right? And the Nine of Pentacles really is a card of our environment. And, that's what I learned over the years about the Nine of Pentacles as well, is really, if you boil it down, like you can say a lot of things about the Nine of Pentacles, but really the thing that we have to work with, the energy we have to create is in our environment. The better the environment, the more success you will have with the Nine of Pentacles. So I would create that winning environment. You have the Four of Wands. A lot of Four of Wands at the end of the year here as well. Four Wands can be marriage, of course, but it is a finish line card. There's this finish line we have to cross through and we have to go celebrate with these people. This is one of the first years in a long ass time, Sagittarius, where I really feel we are probably ending the year. This year, 2025, I feel like it didn't start until like June, right? So it's like 2024 really felt like it didn't end until like June-ish, around there. So for some of you, maybe May. But this year, 2025, I feel like it's ending, pretty quickly. And I feel like next year, 2026, is starting pretty quickly as well. And so I would say anything that you want to leave behind. I think you have until like February, I would really argue, mostly because Saturn and Neptune will both be back in Aries by the end of February. Neptune obviously moves in January, Saturn in February. But, I feel until that time, anything that you want to release or let go of, it would be just a great time to do that. And a great time, sometimes I think the Four Wands, it's like we have to completely shut the door on the past. There's no going back, right? We have to say, I'm done with whatever, could be limitations, blockages, all sorts of things, and then we can move forward. With the Two of Swords, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, I think you're celebrating. Four Wands is a celebration. Three of Cups is a celebration. I feel like you're celebrating the answer. It's like you're seeing how to solve the puzzle. And it's like now that you know, now you can't unsee it. It's like one of those, mind trick things where once you see it, you never forget it. It's like riding a bike, right? Once you know how to ride a bicycle, you never forget. So I kind of get that feeling that like you are celebrating something like that. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Cups. Yes, Nine of Cups is also about bathing in the energy of what you want. You have to be the thing you want to be before you can have it with the Nine of Cups. But, I think this is an attitude of gratitude here, Sag, and getting in that energy and really celebrating wins is going to be a big thing for you. With the Four Wands, you have the Nine of Wands. We go from the Nine of Wands to the Ten of Wands to the Ace of Swords. This right here looks like you trying something again, or doing something again. Now, the funny thing is that we will have Mercury is in Scorpio. It's retrograde right now. Today is the 27th. This video will be published on the 28th. Mercury goes direct on the 29th, and I don't know what day Mercury moves back into Sag, but it'll be soon. And what I would say here is like, as it moves back into Sagittarius, you might be thinking that you are going to try something again. Mercury, after a retrograde, this can absolutely happen where we think about like an old idea. It can happen during the retrograde as well. But, so maybe some of you already have been thinking about this, but we can want to reinvent an old idea or try something again. And that's what I feel here. It's like Nine of Wands, perseverance. Ten of Wands, you're thinking about all the work you're going to have to do again. And then the Ace of Swords would be the victory. So don't let the Ten of Wands scare you, is what I feel like that card is saying. It's saying like, yeah, maybe you have to redo some work or, go back to the drawing board. But it's a great time to do that anyway. Here you go. Next in the area of what's coming in for you, have this card says, don't let the past hold you back. Again, I think you're overestimating something in this row. The second row is like a completely different story to the first one, apparently, in my head, at least. And I feel like it's saying you're possibly trying something again, and it's not going to take as long as it did the first time. So don't worry about that. You have this prosperity lies ahead, so there you go. Definitely, we already see some good cards of prosperity with the Nine of Pentacles especially. You also have the Five of Pentacles at the end, and you might be saying, Chris, Five of Pentacles is a card of poverty. And I would say, yes, you are correct, but it's coming up in the good stuff. So I feel for a lot of you, you could be kind of leaving behind a time where maybe you didn't have the resources you needed, and now you're entering into a time where you do. You have the Four of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Justice card. Four of Pentacles can be holding on too tightly to the past. So, as that card says, don't let the past hold you back. I think you're overestimating something with the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands can be a card of overestimation, where we think we need to put in a certain amount of work to get something to work, but maybe not, And the Ten of Wands, he's very close to his goal. So, again, I would let go. I just feel the Four of Pentacles is saying, let go of those fears, let go of those worries. With the Ten of Wands, again, he is very close to reaching his home in the background. So, yes, he is burdened, but at the same time, he is kind of very close to achieving his goal, so he just has to keep going. You've been getting the Ten of Wands with me quite a bit this year, Sagittarius, and I've been telling you many times, I would, like, if I were you, I definitely think Sagittarius needs to look at their obligations. I've said it to you many times, again, and, I think there are obligations from other people. Those are the things that are probably weighing you down the most, right? And so those are the things that I would avoid as much as possible with the Ten of Wands. This has been a long-term thing for you, Sagittarius. Even if we look at your astrology, I think it's something that you've been learning for a long time. Like you maybe even you have had like family members and things like that taking advantage of you in some way. And so those things are going to be the things that slow you down, right? And letting those things go are going to speed you up and get you to your home faster so that you can have a harvest faster. You have the Justice card. Basically, everyone has had justice. Again, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Scorpio is very karmic. Mercury retrogrades are very karmic in general. So, you could be getting some karmic rewards, some karmic balancing. You could be finally learning a lesson which sets you free, or, pretty much anything like that. You also have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords can be like Law and Order as well. So Justice and Ace of Swords, if you're dealing with something legal, could be like a legal win or a legal victory. It could also just be releasing something legal with the Ten of Wands. Sometimes I think we can, we don't necessarily win legally, but getting out of a legal situation usually is a win because you don't have to deal with it anymore, right? With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Hierophant. Yeah, time to think outside the box. Again, Uranus and Gemini until 2033 for you, right? So the next like 7-ish years or so. What I would say there is that, outside the box thinking is just going to make you very, very successful. But the problem is like the desire to stay in a comfort zone. I think we all feel this right now. I blame having Pluto in Capricorn for the last like 20 freaking years, basically. Pluto is obviously in Aquarius now, but we've been under the influence of Pluto and Capricorn for a long time. And Pluto and Capricorn is very difficult because it loves structure and it wants structure. Even worse than that, back in 2016, we had Saturn in Capricorn, kind of like at the height of Pluto in Capricorn. So we probably learned a lot of lessons about the importance of structure. The problem is now we've had Neptune and Pisces, which dissolves structure. We had Pluto going over the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius multiple times, which is also the death of establishment. Very confusing time to be alive because it's like you had to learn all these lessons about structure. And now the universe is like, just throw that all out, throw that all away and, build something new. And you're like, what? I just spent 20 years trying to get stable and now you're being asked not to, right? So yes, I understand. I'm right there with you here, Sag, about how confusing and annoying that is. But the good news is that if we do this, we will be, again, very successful. And again, I think there's more opportunity for success than there has been for a long time. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you've learned the lessons. You know what to do. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is like a perfect match. This doesn't have to be love. Really, it's not a love reading, but obviously, if you want love, it's always available to you. Two of Cups can be a person different than your usual type. Two of Cups is also you and your higher self, and we are in a very spiritual time, so I feel listening to your higher self, tapping into your dreams and stuff like that would be very good as well. With the Justice card, you have the Ace of Wands. Two aces, love it. Two aces is a definite yes to any question I haven't answered. The Ace of Wands is out with the old and with the new. Basically everything I just said about letting those old structures go. Again, we had to build those old structures to learn structure in the first place. So now it's like we're being asked to build new things, but we already know how to build solid structure. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but at the same time, I think we'll be able to do it faster, better, stronger, and all that other good stuff. So there you go. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this reframe card. It is an amazing time for reframing, especially for you. Uranus and Gemini is all about reframing things, your ideas, plain and simple. It says reflect, shift perspective, there you go, and discernment. You have this danger. It says warning signs, fight or flight or distress. Yes, one important thing everybody needs to pay attention to right here. There's been a crazy amount of devil energy this month. Yes, I know this is a weekly reading, but the whole entire month, people have been getting these cards of the devil, needing to pay attention if you feel weird in a situation. If you feel like you shouldn't do something, don't do it. Pay attention to spiritual flat tires. If you get a weird vibe off of a situation, don't do it, plain and simple. Super important at the end of the year here, so I would just pay attention. If something feels off, it probably is, right? And I'm not saying this to scare people, but, I think people should pay attention. So there you go. You have the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the Hermit. The Ace of Swords is a victory or a big success coming in for you. So I do feel a lot of you are kind of like having victories at this time, or it's like you're solving the puzzle, like I said. The Ace of Swords is above the mountains, so it can represent overcoming an obstacle or, overcoming some sort of challenge that you've been dealing with for a while. So I feel pretty good about this Ace of Swords. You have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is feeling like everything is always going to be the same. And again, I do feel this energy quite a bit in the astrology as well. But again, I think the easiest thing to do, and not that it's easy, but, the only solution is maybe what I should say, is to build new structures or be willing to build new things in your life. Because that will get you out of the Nine of Swords. We have to, I also think the easy thing to do is with we have Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is retrograde in Taurus right now, is we have to look at things that we've just been doing over and over and over again that have been the same for too long. And, it could be anything. It could be your daily routine, health routines. It could be how you deal with money blockages. I mean, the list goes on and on there. Anything you've been repeating for years, right? And all you have to do is go learn a different way of doing it. And like I tell everyone, YouTube is a great resource. There are videos about frickin' everything that possibly could exist on YouTube, right? So if it's a money block, go learn about money blocks. If it's some other type of blockage, go learn about some other type of blockage. Or if it's how you deal with money, go learn about money. And again, you should be trusting but verifying, right? So we have Neptune going into Aries. Neptune in Aries says not everyone is going to have the right answer. But the other problem is some people will have a part of the answer, right? So we have to learn from multiple sources. We have to Uranus and Gemini. We have to mix it all together, put it in a pot and drink the potion we just made, right? That's the analogy that I'm going to use. And that's like what we're all doing. We have to learn from multiple people, multiple sources, and that will be our solution. It's kind of like we're coming up with unique solutions for ourselves. So I would just be willing to do that with the Nine of Swords. You have the Hermit. The Hermit can represent having been in hermit mode. I do feel it's time for you to kind of get out there, Sag. I think we've talked about this a couple of times in your readings over the past few months. Just seems to me like it's time for you to kind of like step out into the world. You've learned a lot. It's time to share. It's time for him to share his inner light with the world. And I kind of feel that for you. Also, Sag, I forgot to say, make sure to like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Ten of Wands. You have the Ten of Wands twice. Again, you're probably solving whatever this is. If you've been dealing with any burdens or challenges, or if things have been slowing you down. So that's good. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Eight of Pentacles. This could represent just focus, right? The Eight of Pentacles, he's focused on doing one thing. He's not focused on 900 things at once. So Nine of Swords, it could come up when you're focused on too many different things in your life, and that could be causing a lack of movement or a stuck feeling because you're not actually getting anything done. And focusing on one thing at a time could probably help you. I will say you're a fire sign, obviously, so Saturn and Neptune are moving into Aries next year in January and February, like I said. And, Saturn, especially in Aries, for the next, 2.5-ish years or so, we have to, start one thing, finish one thing. When you're done with that, you can move on to the next thing. Start it and finish it, right? And, working with that energy, you'll get a lot farther, a lot faster. I think the problem with having a lot of ideas, which, again, Uranus and Gemini, your brain is going to be a million miles an hour, right? And for sure, mark my words. But and so the problem with having a lot of ideas is you want to do them all. And the problem with that is that if you try to do them all at once, you're not going to get anything done. So, again, I understand the pressure of wanting to do a lot, and I definitely think you can, but it has to be one thing at a time. With the Hermit, you have the Death card. Yeah, again, this retrograde ends in Scorpio. Scorpio is death, so we're all going through a transformation. You have the Judgment card right next to it here. So this death can represent a rebirth, of course, but definitely when these two come up together, it is absolutely some sort of rebirth happening. Next, in the good stuff, you have this main female card. It basically says you, if a female, but again, it doesn't matter what gender you are. This is a general reading. I don't attach gender to my cards in general reading, so it's probably just you. An important female in the reading, wife, partner, girlfriend. You have this playmate. It says player, playing games, not serious, informal, recreation, sexual partner, hidden benefits, fun activities. Number one, I think you need to have more fun. Number two, I would be careful of players. This is coming up in the good stuff. And I definitely feel it is probably good for you, but at the same time, again, there's definitely like a devil energy at the end of the year. Obviously, not every person you meet is going to be a bad person, but I would just be paying attention so you don't get burnt, right? And that's that. You have the Five of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Judgment card. Five of Pentacles in the good stuff would represent coming out of the cold, which is great. I feel like next year you're going to feel really good. It's just a good year for you, I feel, next year. It's even the year of the horse next year. And I don't know, I just feel like that's a good energy for you, Sagittarius. It's like momentum, speed, travel, moving around, all like fun, enthusiasm, wind in the hair, right? And all that other stuff. So I feel like you're going to just feel free and more free. Is it perfect? Hell no. Again, we're not in a perfect time. So, definitely you have to understand that, but probably much better than this year. And again, I am going to be doing 2026 reading soon, so we'll see what comes up, but feels good. You have the Four Cups. Four Cups can represent past disappointments, can represent boredom, can represent thinking the grass is greener on the other side, but obviously it's coming up in the good stuff. So you could be getting a very solid opportunity that I would look at, especially for those of you that are revisiting something or thinking about redoing something. I would take another look at something. And I feel like I said this to you recently, but, he's kind of like afraid of accepting this because he's failed like 3 times before. And so if you're thinking about redoing something, again, it'll be worth it. And it's coming up in the good stuff. You have the Judgment card, probably waking up to your purpose. Now, I think this is a very common energy right now. Again, we're going from the year of the snake to the year of the horse in the Chinese, Chinese zodiac or Chinese astrology or whatever. And so snake, we're shedding our skin. Horse, freedom, speed, momentum, all those things. You know what I mean? It's like we're all changing. And there's plenty of stuff. Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius, major change. Again, I think people don't realize how important Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius, how big of a deal it is. Pluto is as close to Earth as it can be when it's in Capricorn. It has a highly elliptical orbit. It's still very far away, but when it's in Capricorn, it's, very, very close. When it enters into Aquarius, it's going back out into its orbit, way far away. And so, it's still very close, but, it's been close. We had to deal with this energy, and, it just seems to me like it's triggering a lot of change for people. So, again, I think a lot of you could be discovering your purpose or a purpose. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, speed, momentum. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Knight of Swords, but in the good stuff, it's definitely, speed, momentum, things speeding up in your life. With the Four of Cups, you have the Magician. The Magician is about law of attraction or attracting something into your life, of course. I always pull the card he's pointing to. We're going to say it's this one right here. This card says wake up. It says awareness, self-control, and transition. And so it says wake up. I don't know, that's standing out to me. You have the Judgment card, which can be a wake-up call. And maybe you need to wake up to the fact that things are changing or have changed already. It's almost like you're already, I feel you are already in the new world. It kind of makes sense with the Hermit coming up right next to the Judgment card. The Hermit is still in the old world. He's standing at the top of that mountain. He did that to go through a dark night of the soul, but now he's found his inner light. He needs to come down to the world, right? And so maybe you've already transitioned and you don't even know it. And, you just need to start acting as if. With the Judgment card, you have the Judgment card. So basically the universe saying I meant what I said. And I think that's a little bit of confirmation for you for sure that you are going through changes or you have gone through a change. You have this dragon that says, beware of self-delusion. Yeah, pretty much everybody needs to be careful of self-delusion. Neptune and Pisces. Again, we're getting to the end of Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces is very delusional. It's actually not bad. We can have these crazy dreams that are delusional. It's only a delusion if you don't take a step here on Earth. So obviously, if you have some sort of crazy dream or crazy idea, take a step towards it. If you do that, then you're not being delusional. But again, Neptune and Pisces definitely makes us delusional. You have this marriage card. Could be love if you want it. Again, not really a love reading, but there is a little bit of love here. And you have the Hierophant, which is also marriage. So if you're looking for love, looks good. Can't make this up. You have this Hat card. It says you will be playing a different role. Yes. So I think a lot of you could be changing in your purpose or discovering, a purpose that's like worth living. You have these two wanted to come out together. You have this Eagle card. It says triumph over obstacles, and the Shield, it says you need to defend yourself. I don't think you have to defend yourself. I think it's boundaries. Again, if something feels weird, definitely trust it with the Danger card right there. Again, I don't think anything bad is going to happen. I just think it's saying avoid things that could happen. And so, especially with people right now, if you get a weird feeling off of a person, boundary, right? Don't even interact. But, and you'll be fine. And I think you, clearly, Ace of Swords, you could be having a triumph over an obstacle. You have this Wreath card that says sorrow over a loss. Yes, the fact that things can't be the same. Again, Capricorn, Pluto, Aquarius, like I was saying earlier, it's like I think a lot of us are holding on to these old structures that used to provide us with comfort, and we're a little bit afraid of the future. But, overall, I think this is very good for you, Sag. I love this reading for you for sure. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.